I go by 3 names only. I go by Mr. Luetta, Tax Sergeant, or Sir. It's not, hey dude, in my classroom, that doesn't fly. They can't use my last name only because what we also instill is a healthy respect, a mutual respect. So when we have that in class, things are more orderly.
It is unbelievable how that class specifically, they grow into a family.
Welcome to the NCWLIFE magazine. I'm producer Caitlin Hedersheet. Today we're sneaking inside the classroom of Mr. Juan Luetta, an instructor for the Criminal Justice Program at the Wenatchee Valley Tech Center. Stay with us after the break to find out what this local program is all about.
I am the Criminal Justice Instructor for the Wenatchee Valley Tech Skills Center. I have about 32 years of law enforcement experience. 27 of those, 28 years of those was with the Mose Lake Police Department. Then I retired. And 5 years is with the Marine Corps as an MP. And then I also have 36 years of military experience, all the way from infantry training to drill sergeant training. So once I retired from both jobs, I heard about this job with the Tech Center.
And just like that, Mr. Luetta was hired. He says he originally joined the service because he felt moved to serve his country, and now a new opportunity to serve his community. Before his role with the Tech Center, Mr. Luetta found passion and welcomed challenges in his police work.
I want to do what's right. As I got into it, I started, especially on the law enforcement side, I started seeing that there was a gamut of different people that I was coming in contact with. And so trying to figure out different scenarios and different way of doing things was a challenge for me. And so I enjoyed that part, thinking on the fly and trying to make good decisions that help people. My main goal was not to arrest people, it was to help people. But of course, sometimes that meant placing them under arrest. Okay? And doing so in the most respectful manner that I could was always something that I enjoyed doing.
After retirement, he continued to welcome challenges like this one, working in a classroom with today's youth.
I was not prepared for the range of students that I would have, from economically challenged to challenged academically. And so back when I was in high school, remembering that far back, I don't remember so many issues with family issues, where the students that I have today, they range from a stable home environment to one that's pretty challenging for them. And when we're going through the academic part, I have to come up with different ways to reach those people because they've got their own challenges going on too. And so if I can mediate those challenges, I can get them to understand what we're trying to accomplish in this classroom. This is my first experience with the Tech Center. And so when I got here, I was expecting something along the traditional lines of a high school classroom. This is different than a high school classroom. This is a 2.5-hour session. And so for two and a half hours, I've got to develop a curriculum that's both challenging and interesting for the student. So what I've done is I've broken it up, and most of the instructors do the same thing. We've broken it up into different sections where you do lecture, you do hands-on lab work, and then for my class anyway, it's a physical education credit. So being part of a law enforcement community, we do a lot of physical fitness in here. So between those three, the class is pretty fast moving.
The Wenatchee Valley Tech Center is an extension of a student's high school education and runs as an off-campus training site for those who opt in. It's just like the name implies. Students are receiving technical job training in this program. Teachers are instructors from the industry, from automotive technology and collision repair to cosmetology, culinary arts, fire science, and much more. All located on this campus on Penny Road in Old Station. Students at Wenatchee Valley Tech come from high schools from around the area, earning industry certifications and college credits. This center is run in 2 shifts, the morning session and the afternoon session. Mr. Luetta told me to stop by this afternoon session on Friday for 2 reasons. Number 1, the afternoon class is much more awake, he said. And number 2, Fridays are inspection days. To be honest, I wasn't sure what an inspection day meant, but I figured it'd be good.
When they come in, They know already a basic routine. They know they have to be at their desk with their Chromebooks ready to go when the second bell rings. If not, there's consequences because we run the program like an academy. So my students I call cadets, like we do in the police academy. Today is Friday. Today is the end of the unit that we've been studying all week, constitutional law. Okay, we have to begin with the basic knowledge of what the Constitution is and how it controls the laws that govern us. Hello, Bell.
And there's the class bell. When students, or cadets as he calls them, arrive, Mr. Loetta has them complete an entry task to get the class thinking.
It might be a question that's in our society today, like, what are your stance on gun control? And with a diverse class that I have, it is sometimes split right down the middle. Should we have gun control or not? And their answers vary.
I've got to sit in on a lot of those, and I will tell you, sometimes I'm like, that's kind of a big issue to tackle. However, the way that Mr. Loetta actually manages and runs those discussions, I walk away just thinking, wow, these kids can have big conversations.
I do not give my opinion on the matter because I don't want my opinion to influence them. I want them to do their research and come up with their own opinions on the entry task. We'll do the roll call and then we'll do Pledge of Allegiance. Okay, and so after that we go into our lecture. But today there's no lecture because today's Friday. Today's inspection day, and it's testing day.
On inspection and testing days, Mr. Loetta is giving his cadets the opportunity to show him what they've learned. Today, the class worked in teams for a review before the test, getting a little competition into the classroom. Remember, Mr. Loetta says he keeps the class moving, so the winning group for each round would relax as the rest of the students ran laps in the parking lot. He incorporates this idea into consequences when cadets fail to meet expectations, but it's not a punishment.
Oh, I call it corrective action. Straight out of police academy, straight out of the military basic training. If you don't do something right, you're going to do push-ups or squats or whatever else I can think of as a corrective action. If it's a lap, because the weather's so nice, they'll go for a lap. They know already what's going to happen, so they know as soon as they don't meet expectations, they're running. Some of them will even start stretching before I even say go. If it's going to be something disciplinary, seriously, I deal with those things differently. I'll either have counseling sessions with them or get Mr. Jelsing involved in the discipline.
After testing, cadets get their notebooks checked by what they call their squad leaders. Mr. Loetta has the class ranked, bringing more accountability and empowerment into the hands of his students. The class is divided up into squads, with leaders for each to hold them accountable on deliverables like assignments, organization, and presentation.
It is both police and military style, where I have enough students in here, I cannot manage all the students by myself. I probably could, but it would not be as it wouldn't be as structured or as efficient. I want to make sure the class is working efficient. So I identify those cadets who are showing leadership and are showing a propensity to just be compassionate with their classmates and are willing to help. And those cadets are the ones that I look to for being a squad leader. So if we have, for instance, 30 people in this class, we roughly have 7 people per squad. And so when we go into formation, the people at the head of the squads are my squad leaders. So I've been trying out several different students to perform those duties. And at the end of this quarter, which is next week, we will make permanent squad leaders for the rest of the year. So those squad leaders, when I need something done, I will call my squad leaders and my TA, my lieutenant, and I will explain what I want done, and I'll say, go get it done. It's almost like I want them to fry an egg, but I'm not going to tell them how to fry it. If they need a little guidance, of course I'm there to provide guidance, but I want them to figure out. It's part of the 21st century skills with critical thinking and figuring out problems. I don't want them to come to me every time there's a problem.
Following the testing portion of today's class, the cadets need to get ready for inspection beyond just their notebooks. From how they've hung their uniforms in storage to putting them on along with a utility belt, these students really do get the full experience.
We have 2 uniforms. One is a work uniform that just entails the physical fitness shirt and their cargo pants, but today it's their duty uniform, light blue. It looks like a police uniform. And their utility belt, which has some pretty realistic looking equipment on. It's got the taser, it's got pepper spray, real handcuffs, it's got a training pistol, which I emphasize are to be treated as real tools. So they can't be playing with them and spinning them on their fingers, or they'll lose those privileges. Okay, and so when we do our inspection, they get into a formation. So they've learned basic formations. They know how to space themselves. They know where to be, and we've assigned squad leaders for the week. So my squad leaders assist their squad in making sure they're dressed right and that they know the testing material for the day.
Mr. Luetta says he's seen many transformations in his classroom and heard from other teachers what kind of changes they see in his cadets. He says the structure he's developed for the program lends itself to this transformation.
Sometimes their students haven't shown a propensity or any motivation to be successful in their classes. And after about half a semester or a semester to a year, they see a change in their students because of what we stress in here, with the culture and with the respect and just getting your work done. I mean, we have a structured promotion system here that requires them to get their work in. They don't know what to think about it at first, and so they'll be lacking assignments until promotions come up and they see what a big deal it is, and then all of a sudden they kick it into high gear and they're turning stuff in. It creates a lot of work for me, but it's worth the effort because it shows them that it is important, not only in the classroom, but it's important at their jobs to get work done. They can't just show up and look good, they have to perform as well.
Coming up next, we'll learn more about the core goals of the program, and Mr. Luetta tells us about how parents feel about his methods. And we'll hear from two cadets themselves on why they joined this program at the Wenatchee Valley Tech Center. We'll be right back. Wenatchee Valley Tech Center Director Peter Jelsing says the overall goal of the center is to help students find their passion in the workforce while growing important industry skills and being a positive environment for students around North Central Washington. He says the instructors play a vital role in achieving this goal.
In general, I mean, I think it is a shock for a lot of our guests that come in, and you can say that about pretty much every one of our programs. It's going to be louder. You know, there's a whole lot more movement. You're not sitting around a whole lot. We're not necessarily coming at it from just the typical academic standpoint. Yes, we understand that they are young adults. They are still in public education, but each one of our instructors are coming out of the industry. They know what the expectations and what the needs are. And, you know, that's something that we really try to pass on to our students.
The Criminal Justice Program is a 2-year gig for high schoolers who opt in. Instructor Mr. Luetta says it's a lot to pack into the curriculum, but he has a lot of help in bringing it all together.
Pauline Starkey was the instructor here, and she left me so many equipment items. She left me a great foundation that I could choose from as far as what the curriculum is going to be. So when I got here, the first thing I asked for was, is there a textbook? Do we have a textbook we can teach from? And there was not a textbook, and so I was giving a lot of leeway on what to do to develop a curriculum. I think it's a 2-year program because there's so much information to cover. And when we go through the units, before we know it, we're in week 9 right now. And I'm just beginning to start the real meat and potatoes of the program. So I think it's because of the course material that there is. 2 years is probably not even enough time to cover everything that I want to. I'm not only covering the police department or police officer aspect, I'm covering a broad range of law enforcement jobs and opportunities. And so to do that, I enlist the community members who are in those fields. I can have anybody from State Patrol to the prosecutor's office to the defense office, public defenders, anybody that I can figure works in the law enforcement field, I have them come in and they're guest speakers. And so that broadens the options for these students to know that hey, law enforcement is not just about being a uniformed police officer. There is so much more involved. Some of them, they come in with a preconceived notion of what law enforcement is. And again, the only maybe experience they've had is with police officers. Well, when we bring the other guest speakers in, it does pique their interest. Last year, I brought in Rivercom Dispatch, and one of my students actually got interested, and she is now a Rivercom dispatcher 911. And so it is so satisfying to see some of these students that not only show the interest, but then take the steps to pursue those interests.
In today's cultural climate, Mr. Loetta says students come in with their own ideas of law enforcement and the criminal justice system in the United States.
When we get in here, we will debunk myths, we will confirm myths. I try to get those questions answered and then give them the nuts and bolts, the case law on why officers can do what they can. And even what they can't do as well, because that's important to know. We're talking about what they see on the internet, what their families have experienced, what their friends have experienced. And so they only know a little bit about what is happening or what the rules of engagement are for law enforcement.
For sophomore Emily Brooker, she says she joined the program after taking a tour in 8th grade. She has no interest in law enforcement in the future, but was lured in by the structure and hands-on activity of the course.
Well, from what I've learned, even if you don't want to be a police officer, it's still a really fun class. You still get your credits, which is pretty good, and then you can get all these new friends. And normally in normal classes at the high school, you make I don't know, 1 or 2 friends in your high school classes. But here, we're all friends. We had a sub recently, and it was the sub wasn't even there. We were running ourselves. We're in this together. I used to be this dweeky little, tiny little freshman. And now I'm in this. He's helped me really find parts of myself that I didn't even know. And he's helped boost my confidence a lot, because I'm not gonna lie, I didn't really have that much confidence. But ever since I joined this class, I was just hey, I'm ready.
Emily Brooker, she is an example of what this program can do for a student, a good example. When she came to me, I think I talked to you a little bit about the range of students that I have here, all the way from freshman to senior, which if you think about it, that is a big dynamic. There's a lot of development that goes on in those years from freshman to senior. Well, Emily was a freshman when she came here last year, and she was painfully shy. She was in her shell. And whatever happened up until the point where she had come to me, whatever happened in her life, I could see there wasn't a whole lot of confidence there. Once we started the program and we started going through the testing, the knowledge, and especially the scenarios where they actually have to perform what they learn, she started gaining a confidence. And when she got promoted to cadet first class, her confidence just soared. This year, being a second year, she's only a sophomore. I've got first year seniors in here who look to her as the subject matter expert. And she is very smart. You've probably seen she's pretty sharp. She knows the curriculum, and she even better, she's willing to share it. And she's more than enthusiastic to share it. So I look to her as one of the peer instructors in this classroom, and she's up for the challenge. And like I tell them at the beginning, you don't have to be interested in going into the law enforcement field to be a good citizen. And really what we're trying to accomplish more than recruiting people for law enforcement are creating good citizens, good informed citizens. And she is a great example of that.
Another example of excellent personal growth is Trevor Fagerland. In his second year at the criminal justice program, he says he hopes one day to head to college and join the Navy as an officer. He joined the program last year halfway through the semester, but found his passion after he got into the swing of things, and says Mr. Loetta is an inspiration.
Most of his stuff, I've talked to state patrols and stuff. I've been to a couple interviews, and it's all relevant. Everything they've told me, he's told me, and he's always there for you. He's told us if you ever go to Corps or have an interview that he can be there for you. He's not just an in-class teacher, he cares about you. He ties us all together. He's definitely been a huge role model, and I hope someday I can be like him.
Trevor's another example. Last year was his first year, and trying to get him engaged, he was not buying into the program when he first got here. He was hesitant to perform, did not want to do the practical applications. I'm not sure why he came to the program. He had a friend in here. They became good friends. He started to understand what we were trying to accomplish as far as the culture and our class goals. And Trevor, he took off. This year, I knew he did well last year. I was not expecting him to do so well this year. But he is definitely one of my leaders in the class. And probably when all plays out, he'll probably end up as one of my squad leaders. I have four positions for that. I've been trying out several different students, cadets, for that position. And at the end of the quarter, I will announce who the permanent squad leaders are for the rest of the year. And Trevor's got a pretty good chance of being one of those squad leaders.
Mr. Loetta values parent involvement in the program and has his cadets show off what they learn on parent nights. He said this can be an emotional experience for some families.
Their parents have not seen that level of success or the level of achievement, and when they see their students and their kids in uniform and performing, it gets a little emotional for them. And I can see that it's creating that difference that they may have needed in their life. So, and it gives me satisfaction to know that I'm a small part of that.
In his third year at the Tech Center, Mr. Loetta says he's learning more each year with how to teach and grow the students who enter his program.
The goal is, more than anything, is just become good, well-informed citizens and good contributing members of society. That's the goal. They're big kids. And the more I look, the more I get to work with them, the more I realize they have adult bodies, but their thinking sometimes can be pretty elementary. So I have to keep that in mind when I expect things from them. Sometimes I look at them as, okay, you're adults, but they're developing adults. So from my first year to my third year, I've become more of a coach mentor, where my first year I was coming in breathing fire, but it's still, I wouldn't call it easy. I'm still demanding a lot of the same things that I did my first year. I'm just doing it in a different way.
Our day ended with a friendly dodgeball match against the students from the culinary program at the Tech Center. Outside of the opportunity to hurl a dodgeball every now and again with his students, I asked Mr. Loetta what keeps him coming back.
The food and culinary keeps me coming back. No, what keeps me coming back is knowing that I am, in some small way, contributing to their future, giving them that spark that a lot of teachers give, whether they're at the high school or another program here at the Tech Center, giving them that spark to create a purpose-driven life so that they can be successful. That's what keeps me coming back.
And with that, we've reached the end of this week's NCWLIFE magazine. Looking for more information on the Wenatchee Valley Tech Center? Check out their website at wenatcheeschools.org/WVTSC. To watch this program or any of the programs at NCWLIFE, visit our website at ncwlife.com and navigate to the full episodes tab. I'm producer Caitlin Hedersheet. Thanks for watching.